Hello and welcome back to my Catia V5 CAD tutorial. Today I found an interesting part that we can design. It looks like some kind of pressed sheet metal reinforcement, and it may seem like it has complicated features, but follow along with me and you too will learn to model this in like 15 minutes or so. It's actually quite easy. So let's start designing this part in CAD. As usual, we start with our part structure, where we have our construction set with a bunch of subsets that are going to be our operations. The final set, where we're gonna have our final part as a surface, and the part body, where we're gonna actually make this a solid. The key to good CAD design is breaking down the part into smaller features, and to start with, we're gonna design this surface here, which, as you can see, looks pretty simple if you look at it in isolation. Alright, so let's start with one of the sides of the part. Let's call this base surface. Okay, we go into the base surface subset. Create a sketch, and as you can see here in the part, it's going to be something like this. One of the surfaces will be like that. Now I just fast forward while I'm constraining this sketch. You don't need to see this. This is going to be nice and long. That's one of the surfaces. The other surface it's usually better to have one of them. Again, I make sure the sketch is fully constrained, as I don't want it to move around if I need to change anything later. And the final one, we're going to extrude this as well. And the final surface will be something connecting these two. But this one, we want to control a little bit better. So what we're going to do is create an offset plane from this one. So it's 15 millimeters in this direction, and we're going to intersect this to this surface that's parallel to the axis, and for this one we're going to do a sweep with draft direction. This is usually the way to go. Draft direction will be this one. No, the guide curve will be this one, and the draft direction will be this one. And let's just say 45 degrees, like that. And that's that. Let's go with 30. It looks a bit smoother. Right, so we have this base surface now, but we don't have it joined together. So in order to do that, we do fillets. As soon as I can find this. You do a fillet between this one and this one at first. 20 radius. Let's go with 30. And another fillet between this one and this one. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so this is our base surface. I don't know if this is gonna stay like this or we can just change it afterwards. For example, this angle here, let's go with 15. It's probably gonna look a little bit better. And now we're going to make this 45 degrees. No, better yet, make it 80 millimeters, sorry. That's a lot better. And we're gonna change this to, I don't know, 120. There you go, nice and smooth surface, just like we wanted to. Next up are these angled surfaces connecting the top surface to the welding flange. Now we need to build the sides. We go into the next subset and we call it, I don't know, sides or something, just so we remember what it is. And we do a sketch on this one. These sides will probably be symmetrical. Let's see. I'm designing these walls in a single sketch because I wanted to go a little bit faster. But if I knew this was a part that I needed to change later, I would make them 3 surfaces and join them with fillets. While I continue to make sure I fully constrain this sketch, I'd like to ask you to leave a like and drop a comment on this video if it helped you in any way. Okay, we got that sketch out of the way. Now we need to sweep this like that. We select the same draft direction. The draft direction is this direction. Actually, 15 degrees is enough. It might actually be too much, but considering the depth of this, should be fine. Right, now we need to take care of these radii here. We go with edge fillet. and we change this to 60. Okay, we make a symmetry here because we said we're going to do this part symmetrical. We select the surface, we select the plane. Doesn't really look that well, so I guess the scale is probably off. That means this value here is probably too little. So let's go with 35, and this one change it to 60, 30, and 55. Nice. So we have the two sides. So this is side, top, and bottom. But actually, I think this has another side. So we need to create another set called front and make another sketch, and we're going to define a vertical line here, which we're going to constrain to about 75 millimeters. And we're going to do the same with this one, and it's going to be a sweep with a draft direction, and it's going to be something like that, because it's probably going to be welded to something. Okay, and this welding flange can be split into multiple surfaces as well. We go to this subset that we called welding flange. In fact, let me just color these differently. So we're gonna color these like this. The base surface is going to be blue, and this front surface, we can make it the same color as those because it's basically the same function. And now for the welding flange, we're gonna color this, let's say this brownish color here. And finally, we have the interface to whatever it is mounting to, the weld flange, which is also quite a simple surface if you look at it. We go make a sketch on this plane. Probably gonna start with this. It doesn't really have to be on the axis, it can be slightly in one direction or another. This is 2.5 or something close. Now we have the option to either continue in the sketch with all the drawing, or we can have separate sketches with separate lines. It's usually better to have them separate, but it's faster to have them in the same sketch. So really it's about defining your own algorithm of how you want to do things. So now there's another surface that goes like this. This is probably gonna be at an angle, and we need to define a distance to this origin. 7.5 looks about right. So this is the surface at the back, this is the surface at the front. But if you look closely, it looks like it has two other surfaces as well. It's not just these two. So we need to create another one. Something like this. Put another angle here, 4.7. It's a reasonable angle. And it's going straight to the origin. Okay, so this is kind of like the base surface that we have for the welding flange. Now we need to fillet them together. This one and this one. Let's see how 45 millimeters looks like. Yeah, that looks like really good. This one and this one. 45 is good also. Right, and you kind of see that here it has like a little curved surface. So we're gonna do that as well. We take a circle like that, and then we need to define its diameter. It's probably gonna be a little more than this. Let's say 350, something like that. 70 millimeters. In this direction, we need to constrain the center point. Every sketch needs to be constrained. and we extrude it up. Now we fillet this to the other sides. We make sure we have the correct orientation, and there we go. And now we have the welding flange. Right, in this final surface here, you can already start building your part, because these sets here will pretty much contain only a single surface, or two in some cases, that you're going to use in this, and it shouldn't impact the design in other sets. That's why we have this this part structure. Okay, so you can start building this final surface. You can take the base surface and fillet it to the sides. $45mm is too big for this in this case, so let's go with something like 6mm. It looks more realistic in this case. Okay, now we take this fillet that we did and fillet it to the other side, also with 6mm, and there's one side left, which is the front side, also 6mm. That looks about right. I guess we don't need to see this anymore, so we hide it. This small depression in the top surface is also a separate feature. Before we add the welding surface to this shape, I would rather add the small depression here as well. So to do that, I need to insert another geoset. We need to put it inside the construction set, and we're gonna call it depression. I don't like where it is right now, so I need to reorder the children, and the depression will go just above the final surface. Right, and in this depression I will do an offset plane where I will base my sketch. I will offset the plane from this one, and I will just reverse direction so I can have positive values, and move it somewhere around here. Make a sketch, and we are going to have a rectangle, but I'll put a centered rectangle because I want it to be constrained like this. So now let's constrain it. 30 should be enough. This and this, it doesn't really matter, so just make sure it's constrained and it doesn't jump around when I update stuff. Same goes for this one. Okay, now this sketch I will sweep with the draft direction as well. Draft direction is Y, because we're assuming that Y is our demolding direction. Okay. This is kind of something I didn't want to see. We want to extrude it only in one direction like that. Okay. We will fill this rectangle and then join it like this. And now for a very nice operation, we do a trim. But before we do that, we go to the final surface, and we're gonna trim this surface that we generated here with this depression here. And you see it doesn't work for some reason. Okay, the reason is because this one doesn't intersect this. That's how trim works. It's a little bit fiddly. So in order to fix that, we go back to the depression, we go back to the sketch, and we change this. Let's make it a reference for now, and we change it to somewhere here. Sorry, no, we change it to somewhere here. Again, this is not important because we will be cutting this off anyway. Okay, now we try again. We go to the trim, we go this, and make sure we select the right parts. That's good. And now we do a edge fillet. We can start by using these ones. Actually, these are not important at all because we will be, like I said, cutting this off, so we can just make them as small as possible. And now we put a edge fillet here, a edge fillet here, and a edge fillet here with 5mm, and see how it goes. It looks pretty damn similar to what we had here. Alright, maybe it is a bit different, but I'm gonna show you exactly why. Because actually this looks like it could be a variable fillet. So this 5mm like this fillet should stay. This one looks like it could be a variable fillet. So in order to do a variable fillet, you can choose this one. You select this. Maybe you want to have it 10mm in this area, and now you can add the control points to this. So basically here you'll add a point where we have 5mm, and also here we're gonna have the same point with 5mm. That looks a bit better, tiny bit better. Maybe increase this to 15. And also maybe this is a bit further out, like that. That looks nicer. Alright, now, since we're in the final part, we're going to add the welding surface to this. And to do that, we just use another fillet. Make sure we have the orientation right. So that is the base surface from which we will cut our part. But to do that, we first need to add our holes. The holes you should always keep separate, as they can change a lot in the part, and these are the ones that you might actually update the most. Let's see how this is gonna work. We go to the hole, and we were basically going to design some holes on this plane, and we will project them onto the surface. First one looks like a big hole in the middle here. We will do something like that. Okay, those are enough holes for now. I'm gonna extrude these sketches that I did, one by one, just like that. And in the final surface, I'm going to split this surface with the holes. There you go. And finally you have the trim. This will define your part's size. Now all that's left to do is the outer trim of the part. Go into the trim. For the trim, we are actually going to use the top and bottom sides and the front side. So first we do an offset. Let's say 15mm. 15mm this way and 15mm that way. Of course, these can be independently changed. That's why I will offset them before I do this fillet between them. Now I just fillet them like that, and we are almost done. What's left to do is to design this back trim here, and in order to do that, we create another sketch on this plane, and we see that for our back trim we have almost a straight line like that. 90mm, yeah, seems fine. We're going to extrude this like that, and on top of this we're going to have another sketch that's going to have this cutout here. I'm just gonna have a square hole here. And extrude this like that. Now we're going to fillet this and this together. This should be towards the outside, this should be towards the inside. No, this was good in the first place. 5, let's go with 3. Looks a bit better. And then we're gonna fillet this to this. Let's go with 10. Seems a lot better. Okay, and now we go to the final whatever, and we're going to do a split between this one and the trim. And we can go ahead and hide the construction set now. Go to the part body. Here we're going to change our workbench to the solid one, and we can put our thickness and create our body. And that's how you design this part. Do make sure to check out one of these videos. I've got tons of useful information out here. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.